Well, President Trump is making a lot of very positive moves to push back against the aggression from communist China. And one of them is partnering and strengthening these ties. But China's foreign minister met with his Russian counterpart in Moscow yesterday to reaffirm their global partnership. This coming just hours after U.S. and Russian officials negotiated for 5 hours at the Kremlin yesterday, coming out of that meeting with no agreement on Ukraine. We're still waiting here, but it's interesting to see these red lines being drawn with China cozying up to Russia, continuing to.
Yes, and it was no coincidence that you have the Chinese foreign minister, Wang Yi, in Moscow at the same time that Witkoff and Kushner were there. And remember, this is the same Wang Yi that in early July told the EU counterpart, Kaja Kallas, that China does not want the war in Ukraine to end. And there, Witkoff and Kushner are trying to end the war. So you can see that Putin is probably being influenced by the Chinese not to do anything to stop the fighting.
Well, it's interesting because China is partnering with Russia at the time that Japan is partnering with the United States. And the U.S. has been able to create many, many more alliances, including Japan, to push back on China as well. Another very important move that President Trump has made.
Yeah, Japan is really important because it has a very capable military. They don't call it that. They call it the Self-Defense Forces. China right now has picked this fight with Japan. Japan has not backed down. And the Chinese right now are hysterical. And I think one of the reasons why Wang Yi was in Moscow was to enlist Russia in its rhetorical fight against Japan.